Tuberville, great to see you this morning. So I know the early voting underway in many states, including Georgia, North Carolina. We're seeing record numbers. Of course, we don't know who those people are voting for, but looking at this election cycle, looking at the millions that have already turned out to vote, which candidate do you think is benefiting most from early voting?
Well, first of all, I think Republicans are learning for the first time, go vote and go early, you know, and we haven't done that in the past. We've been, day of voting on a Tuesday and try to cram it all in. But I think you're seeing record turnouts of Republicans right now, especially in the South.
Yeah.
And we've been keeping up with it. It's something new for us. But hey, if they're going to do it, let's do it, and let's do it the right way. And don't be left out in the cold like we have been the last couple of times.
Yeah, and speaking of voting, I want to ask you about this. So the Biden-Harris DOJ is currently suing your state over its voting laws. Explain this to me, because what it seems like is you guys just want to make sure that non-citizens are not voting. That
Exactly.
shouldn't be controversial, right?
Everybody should clean up their voting rolls, but we've had a lot of non-citizens register to vote, and that's not going to happen in our state of Alabama. We are getting sued, obviously, from Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States. He's a Democrat. It's all a plan. They try to keep everybody in turmoil, but it's not going to work. Alabama obviously will be a Donald Trump state. That's no problem there, but we got to make sure that we have the congressional seats covered because our representatives run every 2 years. I'm not up this year. Katie Britt's not up this year, but our representatives are, and we want to make sure we turn out strong. But Democrats are trying to do everything they possibly can to keep Republicans from voting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that Trump is not taking any breaks. Of course, 14 days to go. He's going to be campaigning every single day, every moment that he can. He's going to North Carolina today and Florida today. But this surprised me. Kamala Harris, she's taking the day off. She's going to spend all day just to prepare for an NBC interview, which will be taped. Of course, this would be like, you're a football coach, this would be like 2 weeks before the national championship if you decide not to practice. Does this make sense to you?
Well, I think they're just trying to keep her off camera, to be honest with you. She's been a disaster. Her poll numbers keep going down. Donald Trump is the Energizer Bunny. I mean, he does not quit. I mean, he keeps going and going and going. He's called me before at 2 or 3 in the morning. Coach, what are you doing? I said, I'm sleeping. What are you doing? He sleeps 2 or 3 hours a night, but he loves what he's doing. He loves the country. He's our only chance. We can't lose this. We can't have another 4 years of this nonsense of spending money that we don't have, of all the things that are going on in foreign wars. He will get us out of the wars. He will get us back to spending the right way. But we've got to get an identity back in our country. Right now, we don't have an identity, and the Democrats are all to blame for it because they pushed all this agenda that is totally nonsense.
Not that Donald Trump needs any advice at all, but if you were to give him some advice on what message he really needs to hammer home with voters in these last 14 days, what would that be? Well,
there's a big thing about education. We've got to get back to educating our kids instead of indoctrinating our kids all across the country. The border obviously is huge, but President Trump, he's totally in control. He understands what's going on. Of course, they're totally opposite. He wants to put up a wall. They don't want to put up a wall. They want everybody to be able to come here that they possibly can get in. We can't afford that. We're being bankrupt. But the economy, it all goes back to the economy. We've got to get prices back down. We've got to start drilling for oil. We've got to open our spigots up and give the American people a chance. Right now, what the Democrats are doing is they're wanting to move everything overseas, do nothing in our country, open the borders, and put people under. Democrats want to control pretty much everything they possibly can in the economy. We can't allow that to happen. We're a free enterprise. People need to have the opportunity to go out and do what they need to do to make a living.
Yeah, you mentioned the border. And at the time, 4 years ago, really the only border states were the ones that were actually along the border. But now we say every state is a border state because of what has happened. What have you seen in your state of Alabama? Because we're seeing a spike in migrant crime. We're seeing so many things that are happening in this country. The rise in fentanyl deaths, the rise in overdoses across the country that never happened under Donald Trump.
Yeah, we've been overrun like everybody else. And you can tell it from our schools. Our schools have gone from 10 to 15% of illegals coming in the country. Now, we want to take care of them if they come in and kids be educated. Of course, most of them can't speak English, but we try to do as best we can in our public school system, but they're being overrun. And so it's taken away from everybody. Again, we're not fit. Our country is a strong country. but we're not set up to take in this many people at one time that can't communicate. If you can't communicate, you can't survive in any country. And again, we've been forced to take them in Alabama, which is fine. We've done as well as we possibly can. But I'm telling you, we can't sustain much more of this, because we're going to go the other way. And all kids are going to be cheated from a great education if we continue down this path and just letting anybody come in our country.
Other than what we're seeing with immigration, what concerns you most if Kamala Harris is in the White House?
Spending. Spending. We can't continue to spend this. I saw where Elon Musk come out and said the other day, we spent almost $500 billion in the last 3 weeks, more than we've have. Our debt is going to put us under. Now, if you've got a plan, I can understand spending money, but you have to have a plan. There's no plan in the Democratic Party right now. They just spend. They look at us in the Senate, and I've been there 4 years now, and I've been shocked of how little they care about the American people. They care about control, their party, and changing us to something that we're not. They want us to be a socialist country. They want to control everything from our education all the way through our military. I'm on the Armed Services Committee. Our military has been ransacked. I mean, you go overseas, you come back, you have to go through DEI training. Instead of building a machine that's going to protect the American citizens and our allies, we've pretty much destroyed it. We've pretty much destroyed our military. We're broke. We're trying to spend money in the military, and we need to do that, but we need to protect our allies and us.
Absolutely.
We don't need to be fighting in Ukraine. I'm totally against that. We need to help Israel win this war, but we need to stay out of all the other wars. Russia doesn't want to fight us. Russia doesn't want to take over all of Europe.
Let's help Americans here at home.
Exactly.
First. America first.
Give our people here a chance. Make us stronger.
Right.
When you do that, you make us stronger. Nobody will want to touch us.
Yeah, absolutely. Senator Tuberville, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.